Okay, we're continuing working on the 52 Ford half-ton. There's cab. Here's the driver side box frame. Yeah. This is the inside. This is the part where the tailgate is. And this is, it's just got surface rust, a little dings here and there, but we'll use it. This is what we're gonna have to replace. It's all, you can see in the seam here, it's all been rusted. There's rust holes there, and it's all coming apart. And if we just cut that out and leave the rust in there, it'll just bleed through the paint and wreck a good paint job. So we're just gonna, you can buy these, but it's easy enough for us to make. We're just gonna make one out of sheet metal. And then there's a bunch more cracks. This is another piece we'll probably end up making. It's cracked, and just to get the rust out from between the panels. That has to be all straightened. It's cracked up here, but otherwise there's a few dents, but nothing. It's straight. The rail along here is nice and straight, so that's in good shape. So we'll start doing the, I thought it was the last of the rust repair, but that's it. I think that's the last of the rust repair. So what we did right now, this piece is spot welded on. So the easiest way to find spot welds, because when it's rusty it's quite hard to find them. So what you do is take a little flap disc or a grinder and grind along there, and then you can, spot welds will show up, and then you just drill them out and you're good to go. And it doesn't matter if we go all the way through, because we're replacing that sheet metal anyways. That should be one right.
Okay.
And then that also gives you nice holes to do plug welding when you put the new panel in, if you don't have a spot welder. But we'll continue drilling out spot welds and pull that piece off.
That one didn't deep enough.
Oh, okay. This is that one and this one. I'll just take the cutter.
Yeah, you gotta be careful because you got your back in your hand. You can't go straight down. Yeah.
Oh, that's a big, I won't go that here. Right, yeah. Yeah, that brace goes there, so the spot welds should be along here. So there's, okay, so we have to find those spot welds. This tube goes along here, so there'll be a series of spot welds there and here. Other than that, that's all. Doesn't matter if it's all ratty like that because it's getting replaced. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but that's a spot weld, that's a spot weld, and there might be 2 spot welds there. So we got that off. Those are all the spot welds that were on there. So that's in good shape. And there's rust in between there too, and rust all in between here. I know it looks like it's all damaged, but actually we can easily straighten that out. That needs to be fixed because that was rotten out at the end. And then we'll just use all the holes just for plug welding and then grind it smooth on this side and you won't even notice. But this panel is easy to make. It's flat, just needs 3 bends on one side and a curve out, and it's got a bolt for the fender. Not a difficult panel to make. Okay, so this is the back of the box where the tailgate goes right here, and you can see it's stress cracked right there. It is quite well. This has been brought out a little bit, and it's cracked there. We tried hammering in that to get that level straight, but the problem is that this crack, it's been squished together, so you can't. It's overlapped right now, so I'm just going to take the cutting wheel and just make some room in there, and then we can make that flat and weld it up. Okay, we'll see. Bingo, that's a lot better. Now that's fairly decent. Good. And that's straight. I like it. So doing some more welding. This is the back. We tack welded or welded up those cracks. This is another crack. This is where there's a big U channel that goes basically straight down here, and that's basically where your bumper attaches. So we drilled out all the spot welds, but it was all bent. So we're fixing a crack right now. We got that back into place. We're going to weld that, and then that'll basically stabilize this area. Then we're going to work on all this edge after that's, because if we start hammering here, it's going to affect there. ground is not grounding. Making a good ground for the welder, always important. Okay, and I don't know if you can tell, we stayed away from the edge. We just did, because this has to be hammered in still, and then that all has to be welded, so we left the room so we can actually move the metal and not weld it. So we'll hammer on that a bit, get that straight, and then we'll weld that up. So here's the sheet metal we cut out, the bottom of the bed side. See, it's all rusted there. This is a piece we've just cut out. We've already bent that side in our brake, and I've laid out where the other two bends have to be, and we'll just bend that, and it should be good. And we just have to duplicate it for the opposite side and then do the little one.
I bet you line it up. Right on the line?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That look
Pretty good?
much right on your line. Yep.
There.
Good.
Alright, on to the last bend. And this is just a combination brake shear and roller from Princess Auto. I'm pretty sure Harbor Freight has ones just like this, and with simple stuff like this, it works perfectly. Good?
Yep.
You guys got it working?
Yeah.
Oh, you're filming. So there's the almost finished panel. Matches up pretty good. Got the hole for that. Just got there's a bolt, a fender bolt there. That's the bottommost fender bolt. We just have to mark that off, but we'll do that once we have the bed together and we're putting the fender on, so we get it in the right spot. Just in case this is, when we weld it, it's different, but now we have to make the opposite of this for the other side, and then two more smaller pieces, bend them up for the front of the bed side. Okay, just bending the second one. Okay, last bend. Crap. Alright, we just took all the teeth out except for one. And we got a panel. And we just have to cut out a circle there. Perfect. So here's the little piece. This is at the front of the rear fenders. That's the last bottom bolt of the front of the fender. So that was all bent and a little bit rotten. So I made up a blank there and a second blank there. And we just got to bend that. And then we won't worry about the bolt hole until we actually bolt the fender on. But that's the last of the one for each side of the bed sides. There we go, just lining it up in the brake.
Back it up. Okay.
There's one bend. Second bend. Third bend. Last one. There we go. And yeah, we just have to locate the bolt hole for the fender. And once we'll weld that on the fender or bedside first, and then locate the hole and drill the hole. And it's good as new. In fact, it is new. So we're back working. Yeah, no. That's why I'm talking to myself. So we're back working on the truck bed fenders of the 52. We've dollied most of the dents out. All the bolt holes are dollied out. We still have to weld up that hole and a couple holes. Then we pulled this panel off, and we got a replacement, or made a replacement. That's going to get welded in right there, just spot welded. We already got holes there, holes along here. We'll just spot weld it. And we painted the inside here with good rust paint, and the back where that's going to be hidden. And also on this side, we made this little piece, and that's going to go right there. And the same thing, we painted where it's going to be welded. It'll be just spot welded here and along here. And we'll just made this same thing for the other side. We haven't taken the other side apart, but we pretty sure it's got rust as well. And there's a few more dents and dings, but once we get that all welded, then we'll send it to our stripper guy, and he can start sanding it and getting rid of all the rust and the paint. And then we'll do some quick body work on it. It's not going to be perfect. It's a truck bed. It's not a show truck by any means. So we will weld this panel in. So the panel's all welded in. See, we just where the original spot welds are along there and there, we just we drilled the spot welds out to get the other panel out and just plug weld them in. We'll just grind those welds flush, and you won't know that they were there. But and it's all been welded on the other side the same way, plug welded. We'll just do that for this little piece over here. And then that one's ready for the stripper. Well, besides a few holes to weld up, but we'll show you that later. Hey, bedside number 2. Had the same little cracks here. This is where the tailgate hooks up to. Same cracks there. We were able to just clamp it, and we'll just tack weld that or weld that up. And the same thing over here. This little panel, it doesn't look bad, but when it's starting to separate well, we've exaggerated, but it's separating in between the two panels with rust. So we've ground down, found 2 spot welds, and we're just in the midst of there's a spot weld of drilling those out. Same thing on this side. This panel doesn't seem too bad. It could be used, definitely, but it's starting to split this seam, so there's rust in between there. So we're just gonna find the spot welds and cut it off. I've already ground it. It's hard to see actually spot welds on here because there's so much rust pitting, but we'll find them and drill them out. And I've already made well, have you seen, I've already made the panel replacement panels. So there's little fixes there, like a tear there, but we will replace those panels. Oh yes, big gulp. Replace those panels and go from there. Little pieces off, just straightening it out a bit. Straightened out a bit, dollied, and we'll just grind all this down, and then paint it like we did the other one with rust paint, and we'll weld up these holes, and here's the wrong way. It'll sit like that, just like the original. Okay, that's all finished, welded in. Just filled in the holes that we drilled for the spot welds, and that'll get ground. We painted this inside there with some good rust paint. Same with in between. It seems to work very good, and it even not a problem welding through it. There's a major crack there. We welded up a hole there. That's where the tailgate mounts to, and there was a welded in nut on the back that was ripped off, so we welded a nut in there. And 2 cracks here and here where the back of the tailgate is. Those are welded up. There's still a few dents and dings, and we got the other side to deal with. And we'll figure out, we'll probably weld up this hole. And there's an opposite hole on the other side. I believe that's just so if you put a wooden stake through the pocket here, you can put a screw or a bolt through there just to hold it. But this truck's never going to have that. So we're just going to clean it up, drill that, or not drill it, weld it. But we'll start working on that side now. Okay, so the larger piece is off, and see, we've sprayed it with our rust paint, and we sprayed the back and the surface that's going to be spot welded with paint as well. And that's going to go just like that. As soon as it dries a little more, get spot welded here and along this edge. And I believe, now I'm telling the truth, that is it for rust repair. Grinding rust, no. Rust repair, yes. Getting to the end of it. Well, see by the cab, no, but it's getting there. We have a door ready for primer. Got to put a little bit of work on that one, just a little bit, and that'll be ready for primer. And I've heard rumors that the rear fenders have been ground smooth, so we just got to get that back and bondo them up and do a little bit of body work and primer it, and then we'll get at piecing this thing together, make sure it fits on the frame and everything, and then paint sometime in the near future. Okay, so this is all welded. 3 little spot welds there, a few there. It had like 4 or 5 spot welds on that side and only 3 on this side. So yeah, the factory isn't, when you're looking for spot welds, it isn't symmetrical. But that's all done. These all the holes for the fender mounts, they still need to be straightened a bit, but all the studs are off. There was a couple holes, little holes, screw holes here for someone had a sign here, so we welded up that. In the center here of the box, there was a large hole for like 3/8 hole, one on each side, so I'm assuming it was for a rod that went across to prevent it from spreading out when they had either dirt or grain or something in there. That's the other one, that's all in there. There was another crack there we welded up, a crack under here we welded up. Nothing's been ground yet. Hole there, couple little holes there for something. Non-factory, so we welded those up. But it's pretty much done. We pulled the that's where the hook goes for the tailgate latch. We pulled that out, so it's ready to go to my cousin's to get, he'll grind it all down to bare metal, and we'll bring it back and hammer out a few dents and do a little bit of body work on it. It's not gonna be perfect. It's too hard to get perfect, because unless you do just strictly a lot of Bondo on it. The rail here is very good. I would say it's near perfect, good enough for what this truck's going to be. But stuff like this, it's not going to be perfectly straight. There is dents in it. We're going to take out a little bit, but some of it's like big waves, so it is what it is for an old box. and we'll then we're gonna take a look at, this is the box front. The original one, this is actually the original from this truck, but the box sides are not. The original box sides were all quite badly banged up, and these were all replaced by galvanized at one point. It wasn't in good shape. But the front of this box was very well, it was basically bowed out, and we were going to try and make our own. But that seems like a lot of work. So we took this one off the original box. It looks in a lot better condition. You can buy these replacement panels. They're not that bad for a price, but right now with COVID, with shipping to Canada, it would be crazy. So we're gonna work with what we got right now, and we'll start working on that one. See you later. If you like this, please like and subscribe, and leave us a comment. Let us know where you're from. We're in Canada, so let us know where you're from. It's always nice to hear people around the world. But definitely like and subscribe. Everything helps. See you later.